Hello friends, today we would be learning one of the very important member of the Enterobacteriaceae family, that is Salmonella. If you remember the Ewing's classification of Enterobacteriaceae, it has 7 tribes and Salmonella belongs to the tribe number 3, that is Salmonella. Salmonella is one of the important members of the family Enterobacteriaceae. It is a gram-negative bacilli. Also, Salmonella is motile with the help of peritrichous flagella. That is, it has got flagella surrounding the entire organism. The credit of discovery of Salmonella goes to Salmon and Smith. Daniel E. Salmon was a veterinary scientist who discovered the first strain of Salmonella from the intestine of pig. The most important member of the genus is Salmonella typhi, which is the causative agent of typhoid fever, and it was first observed by Eberth and Gaffkey, and hence it is also called as Eberthella typhi. Salmonella antigenically is a very complex organism. As Salmonella is antigenically complex, the classification of this particular organism has undergone various modifications over the past years. The proposed classifications so far are clinical classification, antigenic classification, and molecular classification. In the clinical classification, it divides the Salmonella into two groups, typhoidal and non-typhoidal Salmonella, where the typhoidal Salmonella is restricted to human host in whom they cause enteric fever, and non-typhoidal Salmonella can colonize the intestine of a broad range of animals, which includes mammals, reptiles, birds, and insects. And they also cause humans. They also infect humans, causing foodborne gastroenteritis and septicemia. The second classification is antigenic classification, that is the Kaufman-White scheme, which we will deal later in next slides. And the third is molecular, which divides the Salmonella into two species, Salmonella enterica and Salmonella bongori. Now, as per the molecular classification, Salmonella is divided into two species, that is Salmonella enterica and bongori. And Salmonella enterica is again divided into 6 subspecies, amongst which the commonest one is enterica. Now, for Kaufman and White antigenic classification for Salmonella, we need to know the antigenic structure of Salmonella. I am sure you are aware of these terms, that is O antigen and H antigen, where O antigen stands for the somatic antigen and H antigen is flagellar antigen. There is one more antigen here, that is the VI antigen, which is the capsular antigen covering the O antigen. According to the Kaufman and White scale, the Salmonella are initially classified into serogroups based on O antigen, and then these serogroups are differentiated into serotype based on the H antigen, which is a biphasic antigen. As we can see here, Salmonella typhi, which belongs to serogroup D1 or serogroup 9. Initially, the serogroups were named as letters A, B, C, D and so on, but now they are redesignated as numbers. The correct nomenclature of this organism is Salmonella species enterica, subspecies enterica, serotype typhi. But for routine use, it is abbreviated as Salmonella typhi, where Salmonella is the genus and typhi is the serotype. Hence, the letter T is capital here because it is not the species of the organism, rather it is the serotype. The antigens of Salmonella can undergo several types of phenotypic and genotypic variations. Some of these antigenic variations are OH2O variation, which is associated with the loss of flagella. The motile flagellated organism, when it loses the flagellar antigen, can become non-motile, wherein it loses its flagella. But this variation is reversible. The second variation is phase variation. The flagellar antigen, it exists in two phases, and each phase it comprises of a distinct set of flagellar antigens. The phase 1 can comprise antigens which are designated as letters ABC, and phase 2 has got antigens designated as numbers 1, 2, 3. And the serotypes can be classified as monophasic, diphasic and aphasic. The next variation is V to W variation, which is based on capsular antigen and somatic antigen. Salmonella typhi strains which are not agglutinable with O antisera and agglutinable only with VI antisera are called as V forms. Those which are not agglutinable with VI and agglutinable with O antisera are called as W form. And those which are agglutinable with both the antisera are termed as VW form. The next variation is partial or total loss of somatic O antigen, which leads to smooth to rough variation. And the last one is O antigenic variation, wherein infection with a bacteriophage to Salmonella may cause loss or gain or change of an O antigen. That is the lysogenic phage conversion of O antigen. Now its pathogenesis. Salmonella are transmitted by oral route through ingestion of contaminated food and water. The infective dose of Salmonella is minimum 10⁻³ to 10⁻⁶ bacilli. Minimum this amount of bacilli are required to initiate the infection. The risk factors that promote transmission includes the conditions that reduces stomach acidity, like patients on antacid treatment or achlorhydria, etc. Also, the conditions that decreases the intestinal integrity, like inflammatory bowel disease. I hope you have all seen the video regarding the pathogenesis of typhoid fever. The organism here, Salmonella, it enters through the epithelial cells or the M cells which are lining the intestinal mucosa. This organism can trigger the formation of the membrane ruffles on the cell membrane of the M cells. And these ruffles, they reach out and enclose the adherent bacteria within large vesicles. And this entire process is mediated by a system that is called as type 3 secretion system. Following the entry, the bacilli, it remains inside the vacuoles in the cytoplasm. The Salmonella containing vacuoles, they cross the epithelial layer and reach to the submucosa where they are phagocytosed by the macrophages. Now the Salmonella inside the macrophages, they are able to survive themselves because it induces certain alterations on its surface, so that these bacilli, they are no longer susceptible to the enzymes of the macrophages. Now the Salmonella contained inside the macrophages, it spreads via the lymphatics to enter the bloodstream, causing transient primary bacteremia. Then this bacilli disseminates throughout the reticuloendothelial tissue that is the liver, spleen, lymph nodes and bone marrow, and the other organs such as gallbladder, kidney and lungs, where further multiplication takes place. And finally, secondary bacteremia occurs from the seeded organs, which leads to the onset of the clinical disease. Epidemiology of Salmonella infection. Salmonella infects wide range of animal species. The host adapted in different species are humans in case of typhi and paratyphi, poultry animals in case of Entretididis and Punorum gallinarum, and domestic animals like pigs in case of Colariosis. Worldwide, an estimated 27 million cases of enteric fever are there, with 2 to 6 lakh deaths annually. The sources are poultry, eggs, dairy products, meat, fruits and vegetables. And as we saw earlier, mode of transmission is ingestion of contaminated water and food. Geographically, the incidence is highest in South, Central and Southeast Asia. It is medium in the rest of the Asia, Africa and Latin America, while it is lower in the other parts of the country. The clinical diseases that are caused by Salmonella are enteric fever and non-typhoidal salmonellosis. When S. typhi is involved, it is typhoid fever, and when S. paratyphi is involved, it is paratyphoid fever. While non-typhoidal salmonellosis includes gastroenteritis, bacteremia and localized infections. Now, one of the very important clinical manifestation is fever, where this fever has got a specific pattern that is called as step-ladder pattern of remittent fever. It is named so because the fever rises gradually to a higher level with every spike and then falls down, but it does not touch the normal. Hence, the pattern seems to be of step-ladder, hence the name step-ladder fever. The incubation period for enteric fever is 10 to 14 days, and the other symptoms includes fever, headache, myalgia and gastrointestinal symptoms like anorexia, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, either diarrhea or constipation. There are certain physical findings that can be seen, like coated tongue, a very important finding like rose spots or rashes. These are faint salmon colored blanching maculopapular rash on the trunk and chest, which are seen in approximately 30% of the patients at the end of the first week. Also, the other signs include hepatosplenomegaly and abdominal tenderness. There are certain complications in enteric fever like gastrointestinal bleeding, intestinal perforation. Neurological manifestations occur rarely, which includes meningitis and some neuropsychiatric symptoms which are described as muttering delirium or coma vision. And there are some rare complications reported like DIC, pancreatitis, hepatic splenic abscess, endocarditis, arthritis, etc. Gastroenteritis, the source is again ingestion of contaminated food and water. Incubation period is 6 to 48 hours. It is a self-limited disease where the symptoms involved are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever and abdominal cramps. The specific appearance of the stool here is pea soup stool. The last one is bacteremia or septicemia. The common species involved here are cholerasis, typhi and paratyphi. It is seen in the immunocompromised individuals like pediatric population, geriatric and AIDS patient. The symptoms resemble those of bacteremia with gram-negative bacilli. Then there are certain localized infections like intra-abdominal localized infections, CNS infections like meningitis, pulmonary infections such as lobar pneumonia, UTI in people with underlying renal stones, genital tract infections, it includes ovarian testicular abscesses, and bone, joint and soft tissue infections. We shall see something regarding the asymptomatic colonization, that is the carriers. Carriers could be fecal carriers, that is the bacilli multiply in gallbladder and excreted in feces. This is the most common type of the carrier. And urinary carriers, where multiplication is in kidneys and excretion of the bacilli is in urine. Based on the duration of shedding, the carriers could be convalescent carriers, temporary carriers and chronic carriers. Chronic colonization occurs in about 1 to 4% of the infected people. I would end the lecture by mentioning the best known example of such typhoid carrier, that was Mary Mellon or Typhoid Mary. I hope you have gone through the Edpuzzle video regarding this. Thank you.